When you picture a Roman party, you probably think of elegant senators in togas, sipping wine and debating philosophy, right? Well, what if I told you that the biggest Roman celebrations were more like week-long, city-wide brawls where the social order completely collapsed, slaves became masters, and the very foundations of the empire were shaken? These weren't just parties, they were a form of controlled chaos that pushed the empire to its absolute limits. And at the heart of it all was a festival that makes our modern New Year's Eve look like a quiet night in Saturnalia. Every December, Rome didn't just throw a party. It willingly descended into madness for the festival of Saturnalia. Held to honor Saturn, the god of agriculture and liberation, this celebration started as a single day, but eventually ballooned into a week-long spectacle of pure chaos. For this 1 week, all work and business were suspended, and schools and courts were closed. The entire city gave itself over to the festival. The most shocking part of Saturnalia was how it flipped Rome's rigid social order completely on its head. Suddenly, the master-slave dynamic was inverted. Slaves were given temporary freedom to do and say whatever they liked. They were allowed to gamble, feast, and even openly mock their masters. In many households, masters would actually serve their slaves dinner, a sight that would have been unthinkable any other day of the year. The streets erupted in what can only be described as Mardi Gras-style madness. A mock king, the king of Saturnalia, or Saturnalicius Princeps, was chosen by lot to preside over the festivities, issuing absurd commands that everyone had to follow. The noise of singing and public banquets was so overwhelming that the writer Pliny the Younger reportedly built a soundproof room in his villa just to escape the constant din. This wasn't just a celebration, it was a societal pressure valve, a moment where the rules that held the empire together were deliberately and spectacularly broken. But not all of Rome's wild celebrations were state-sanctioned chaos. Some were seen as a genuine threat. And then there was the Bacchanalia, a festival that struck fear into the hearts of the Roman elite. These were secret, nocturnal rites dedicated to Bacchus, the god of wine and ecstasy. Cloaked in darkness, followers engaged in frenzied dancing, heavy drinking, and, according to the historian Livy, orgiastic rituals that he claimed spiraled into conspiracy and violence. Unlike Saturnalia's public role reversal, the Bacchanalia was seen as a breeding ground for moral decay and political rebellion. The Roman Senate became so alarmed that in 186 BC, they did something almost unheard of. They banned the festival. They launched a massive crackdown, and while ancient sources like Livy claim thousands were executed, modern historians debate the exact scale of the purge. This was one of the first times the Roman state intervened so forcefully to control a religious practice, showing just how dangerous these celebrations could be to the stability of the Republic. These festivals reveal a side of Rome that was chaotic, dangerous, and utterly fascinating. If you're enjoying this look into the wilder side of history, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. It helps us dig up more incredible stories from the ancient world. So if these festivals were so disruptive, why did Rome, a society built on order and discipline, tolerate them at all? The answer lies in the idea of controlled chaos. Roman society was incredibly rigid, with a strict hierarchy that governed every aspect of daily life. Festivals like Saturnalia acted as a social safety valve, a temporary release of tension that made the strict social order bearable for the rest of the year. By allowing the lowest rungs of society to experience a brief, illusory taste of freedom, the elite believed they could reinforce the status quo. It was a calculated risk. For 1 week, the emperor and the slave were, in spirit, equals. It was a reminder of a mythical golden age under Saturn when all people were said to be equal. But there was always the danger that the spirit of Saturnalia wouldn't stay confined to 1 week a year. The ideas of equality and liberty, once unleashed, were hard to put back in a box, and that lingering threat kept the Roman authorities on edge. From the sanctioned chaos of Saturnalia to the forbidden rituals of Bacchanalia, Roman festivals were more than just parties. They were social earthquakes that shook the foundations of the empire, temporarily shattering the very hierarchies that held it together. They were dangerous, destabilizing, and absolutely essential to the Roman world. And their legacy lives on today. The influence of Saturnalia can be seen in many of our modern Christmas and New Year's traditions, from gift-giving and feasting to wreaths and candles. So when you celebrate the holiday, you're participating in a tradition that resonates for thousands of years, from a time when a single feast could bring an empire to its knees. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe and like to help legacy stories grow and create more videos. Which part of Saturnalia do you most want to experience? Let me know in the comments section below.